BTS Jungkook sets another world record. Jungkook hit new milestones. The narrative of global pop superstardom is often measured in fleeting moments of virality, but true dominance is defined by longevity. Jeon Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS, has once again proven that his influence is not merely a trend, but a permanent fixture in the history of music. According to the latest data from Spotify, the world's largest music streaming platform, Jungkook's debut solo single, 7, originally released in 2023, continues to showcase unprecedented staying power. For the week of January 23rd to 29th, the track ranked 95th on the weekly top song global chart, a testament to its enduring appeal long after its initial release. This is not just a song, it is a statistical juggernaut. 7 has proven its status as a global mega-hit by recording more than 10 million streams in just a single week, years into its lifecycle. Furthermore, it has remained on the chart for an astounding 133 weeks. This achievement marks the first and longest charting period for any Asian solo singer in history, continuing a record-breaking march that shows no signs of slowing down. Simultaneously, his first solo album, Golden, ranked 86th on Spotify's weekly top album global chart during the same period. The album has demonstrated immense record power by charting for 117 consecutive weeks, setting another historical milestone as the longest-running chart entry for an Asian solo artist. On the platform, Golden has surpassed 6.67 billion cumulative streams, the highest figure for a studio album by an Asian singer, and is rapidly approaching the 6.7 billion mark. Meanwhile, 7 alone has become the first song by an Asian singer to surpass 2.767 billion streams, breaking new ground as it moves toward 2.8 billion. Beyond individual tracks, Jungkook's personal Spotify account has become a monument to his reach. He is the first K-pop solo artist to surpass 10.35 billion cumulative streams across all credits, achieving this in the shortest time for an Asian singer. On the Billboard charts, 7 has maintained its position on the Global 200 and Global Excl. US charts for over 130 weeks, further cementing his unrivaled popularity. However, to look at these billions of streams merely as numbers is to miss the profound human story buried beneath the platinum certifications. These statistics are the result of a journey that began long before the world knew his name. A journey defined by a boy who gave up his childhood to become a legend. To understand the magnitude of Jungkook's success today, one must rewind the clock to a time when he was just a shy teenager in Busan, holding a microphone that felt far too heavy for his hands. The story of Jungkook is often romanticized through his nickname, the Golden Mogne, implying a prodigy who was born with the ability to do everything perfectly. The world sees the pop titan who can sing, dance, rap, paint, and film with equal mastery. But looking closer at the documentary of his life reveals that gold is forged in fire, and Jungkook's journey was paved with intense heat, pressure, and a loneliness that few can truly comprehend. Born in Busan, Jungkook was a child of quiet wonder, possessing big doe eyes and an innate sense of curiosity. His entry into the entertainment world began not with a triumph, but with a stinging rejection. In his early teens, he auditioned for the popular talent show Superstar K. He stood before the judges, a small boy with a big dream, and he was eliminated. He was told no. However, that rejection was the first pivotal turn in his destiny. While he did not win the show, his raw, unpolished potential caught the eyes of talent scouts. He received offers from 7 different entertainment agencies, some of them large, established companies that could guarantee a quicker path to fame. Yet, in a decision that would change the course of pop culture history, he chose Big Hit Entertainment, a small, struggling company with limited resources. He made this choice simply because he was mesmerized by the charisma of a rapper he saw there, Kim Namjoon, who would later become RM. It was a decision made with the pure, trusting heart of a child, a decision that required him to leave everything he knew behind. Leaving Busan for Seoul at the tender age of 15 was a severing of his childhood. While other boys his age were worried about homework, video games, and high school crushes, Jungkook was thrust into a cramped dormitory with 6 strangers, facing a grueling regimen of dance and vocal training. Industry sources and interviews with the agency's founder Bang Si-hyuk have revealed a heartbreaking detail about those early days. Jungkook was paralyzed by shyness. When asked to sing in front of others during evaluations, he would twist his body, hide his face, and sometimes even cry. He was terrified of judgment, shrinking away from the very spotlight he had traveled so far to find. It is a stark, painful contrast to the global icon we see today. The boy who now commands stadiums of 50,000 people once stood in a small practice room, weeping because he was too afraid to let his voice be heard. The transition from a shy boy to a trainee was marked by a profound sense of isolation. He missed his parents. He missed the comfort of his home. Verified accounts from his bandmates describe nights where the young Jungkook would cry in the shower to mask the sound of his sobbing, not wanting to burden his older Hyungs with his homesickness. He was the baby of the group, and while the older members did their best to raise him, the gap in age and experience meant that Jungkook often had to navigate his internal emotional turbulence alone. There was a pivotal moment during his training that nearly changed history. During a dance workshop in Los Angeles, the young Jungkook fell so deeply in love with the art of dance that he considered quitting the group before they even debuted. He wanted to become a dancer, feeling perhaps that the pressure of being an idol vocalist was too much. It took the desperate persuasion of his bandmate Jimin to convince him to stay, to convince him that his voice was needed. This moment of uncertainty highlights just how fragile his path was. The world almost lost the vocalist Jungkook before he ever stepped onto a stage. When BTS finally debuted, the struggle did not end. It evolved. The title Golden Mogne, meaning the youngest who is good at everything, became both a crown and a cage. The world expected him to be perfect. He grew up under the unblinking eye of the camera. His puberty, his acne, his voice cracks, and his graduation were all consumed by the public. But the deepest struggle for Jungkook was never about the physical exhaustion or the lack of sleep. It was his overwhelming empathy. In his solo track Begin, Jungkook confessed a truth that defines his character. He sang that his own hardship was manageable, but seeing his Hyungs, his older brothers in the band, struggle was what broke him. He described feeling like he was dying when his members were in pain. This revelation offered a rare glimpse into his soul. He was an emotional sponge, absorbing the stress, anxiety, and sadness of the 6 men who raised him. He carried their burdens as if they were his own, often hiding his own tears to be the strong, reliable youngest member. There were moments when the weight became too heavy. In the documentary Burn the Stage, fans witnessed Jungkook collapsing backstage during a tour, needing oxygen to breathe. He had pushed his body beyond its limits, driven by a desperate need to not disappoint the fans. Even while physically failing, his first concern was not for his health, but for whether he had made a mistake on stage. He wept, not because he was in pain, but because he felt he hadn't given enough. This level of self-sacrifice is terrifyingly admirable but deeply painful to witness. It showed a young man who valued his performance more than his own well-being. As the fame of BTS reached astronomical heights, Jungkook faced a new, silent enemy: the feeling of being an imposter. Despite the awards and the records, he has openly admitted in various interviews to feeling like he wasn't good enough. He questioned if he deserved the love he was receiving. During the massive success of their stadium tours, while thousands screamed his name, Jungkook would sometimes return to his hotel room and feel a hollow emptiness. He spoke about the difficulty of transitioning from the loud, adrenaline-filled concerts to the quiet solitude of his room. It was a jarring disconnect that fueled insomnia and deep introspection. The release of his solo album Golden, the very album breaking records today, was his ultimate test of courage. For a decade, he had the other 6 members to lean on. Stepping onto the global stage alone, performing on The Tonight Show, or in Times Square without his brothers, was a terrifying leap into the unknown. He wasn't just trying to release a hit. He was trying to prove to the 15-year-old boy inside him that he was strong enough to stand alone. He faced the uncertainty of the solo era with a steel resolve. He worked tirelessly, flying between continents, recording in foreign studios, and pushing his vocal capabilities to new heights. He stripped away the safety net of the group to find out who Jeon Jungkook really was. And the result is the history we see written on the charts today. What makes people fall in love with Jungkook is not just the platinum records or the billions of streams. It is his unaltered humanity. Despite being one of the most famous men on earth, he remains startlingly grounded. Verified stories from staff and industry workers consistently describe him as the one who stays behind to help clean up the set, the one who bows 90 degrees to everyone from the director to the security guard. He hasn't let the fame corrode his heart. He is still the boy who wears his heart on his sleeve, the artist who tattooed his fans' name on his hand so he would never forget who lifted him up. The respect that Jungkook commands today goes far beyond his ability to hit a high note. It is the respect for a survivor. He survived the rejection of a talent show. He survived the crushing loneliness of a trainee dorm. He survived the immense pressure of growing up with the world watching his every mistake. And he did it all while keeping a smile that reaches his eyes. As we look at the billions of streams for Seven and Golden, we should not just see a super pop star. We should see a mosaic of sacrifices. We should see the childhood he gave up. We should see the tears he hid behind the curtain. We should see the sweat on the practice room floor. Jungkook is the golden star who lights up the world, but if you listen closely to his voice in those songs, you can still hear the heartbeat of the shy boy from Busan who just wanted to sing. He is a reminder that greatness is not about being born perfect. It is about the courage to keep growing, to keep fighting, and to keep dreaming even when the path is lonely. And for that courage, for that sacrifice, and for that beautiful, unwavering heart, Jeon Jungkook commands our deepest, most quiet respect.